Hello, my name is Mariana, and today this is a reading for Libra. So, Libra, as usual, I'm doing this reading with my own tarot deck, so the cards that you see are from this deck. Libra, I should say that your reading today feels very collective, and as I'm thinking of this word collective, the word that is coming through is galactic. So, it's interesting because there is this energy in your reading today that almost feels like out of reach, out of my own league to grasp the information, grasp the words, because there is this dissolution of a machine or a time machine, I have to say, that is changing timelines, that is changing the future, right? It is kind of like this future time machine that you, in a way, you have the privilege to be the very first one, I want to say, to access this new time machine or this new way of working with this time perception, because it's being formulated. It's almost like it's being shifted, and it's like the engine is being amped up or is being it's like it's just undergoing like repair, but it's not repair. There's nothing wrong with the old machine. It's just that what was fueling the machine is now changing. It's almost like changing the origin or the source of the fuel, right? Which is going from a fuel based on fear to one that is based on excitement and inspiration and like energy. It's like this very uh it's almost like the one that was before was 1.0, and now the one that is replacing the old is like 2.0. And so it's just speeding up this time engine, this time machine, and you get to be the first one to experience that. So I'm just saying that because there is a card that is showing me it's like that, like you are the first one standing in line, okay? But we're going to get there. So let's talk about this time machine with the Wheel of Fortune. So this Wheel of Fortune was showing me this cog in a machine, right? But at the same time that I was seeing this cog in the machine, it felt like it was almost like this fractal to a bigger system. So it's almost like you have this zoomed in perspective of what time is or what this whole system is, right? This like the perception of reality from a temporal understanding, from it's like from one timeline, maybe this is what it is, right? It's like you get to see like one cog, as in like one timeline, one perspective, one lens. But what you are seeing specifically from this zoomed in perspective is that this timeline, and it's fascinating because when I was reading the word Wheel of Fortune, actually in my mind, I heard Wheel of Future. So the Eight of Swords is the old fuel, right? It's like this is what you're seeing. It's almost like you need to perceive in detail one cog, one timeline, one story that is like it's like you get to see almost like this microscopic vision of what's happening inside a machine, and you can see like this transmutation of the old, which is the dissolution of the Eight of Swords. It's like wind is passing through, and it's like it's cleansing the machine. It's very weird, Libra. I know that this is all metaphorical, right? It's all symbolic for kind of like this, maybe this repairing, as I said in the beginning, but also like this refreshment or this tuning to a new frequency, right? Or it's like reaching this level of allowing all of the old to pass through all of the cogs. But it's like you need to, it's almost like you need one specific memory, one specific situation, one specific event in your timeline to be the one that is going to give you kind of like this it's like this zoomed in perspective to see the details of what is going on. Because I want to say the universe is doing this. It's like, it's not like it's your doing, right? It's like you are just the observer of this cleansing, this, it's like this wind that is coming and uh it's like it's refreshing the cog, it's refreshing the system, it's refreshing the future timelines. But who's behind it is the magician. So this magician is the one that is pulling the strings. But at the same time, that you are able, that's the reason it's so fascinating how you get to have kind of like this front row seat, observing something that the magician didn't want to be seen, or it's like it didn't want it to be visible to others, right? Because, you know, whenever I see this magician, I see him giving just a few glimpses of the true magic, and most of, you know, the real deal is like it's kept underneath the hat, so it's still a mystery. But I feel like, at least from a, it's like from a very subtle, maybe spiritual, conscious place, it's like you can feel the shift in the air, right? Because you can sense that there is, it's a type of wind, or like a shift in the breeze. I'm getting goosebumps. It's different than regular wind, right? And that's the reason why you can tell that it's being manipulated in a way. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's almost like it's like it's being conducted, it's being guided by the hands of God or the universe at large. It's like there is this consciousness, this universal being that is moving the air in a certain way to allow this old fuel to be released, to be dissolved, right? And in this dissolution, this is how the magician is like, will make sure that it doesn't leave any, it's like any prints or footprints or marks. You know how it's like in order for him to be invisible or to be unseen, it's like there cannot be any traces of its appearance or its inner workings. It's what I'm hearing. But it's almost like you can see it. It's like you can identify the source of the change in the wind that is causing this dissolution of the old fuel, which, you know, could be the traditional Eight of Swords, which is, you know, I'm hearing betrayal or pain or stress or distortion or fear, or however you want to see the Eight of Swords. It's like that very it's like that lower vibration type of fuel that was moving timelines, moving this time machine. And it was almost like building our future based on that. But here, it's so out of my own reach. It's almost like the moment that I think that I grasp the image, it's dissolving in front of my eyes or my mind's eye. It's like because it doesn't want to be seen. And somehow you, Libra, seem to have the eyes to perceive that. Because what is really just catching your eyes or just blowing your mind is the change from the Eight of Swords to the Eight of Wands, which is the doing of this magician. So the magician is working with time, with a certain system of time and space, right? This construct of this reality. So it's almost like it's they're the repairer, they are the um the builder. They are the builder. They're not just like the repair person, right? It's like they are the builder. They understand this machine and all its intricacies. It's very meticulous, and also very it's hard to pinpoint, because it's almost like the magician, being the author or the creator or the inventor or builder of this machine, doesn't want to be recognized. And it's very humbling, to be honest, the approach that this one has. But somehow you get to see him. It's like you get to see the creator working with its own creation in real time, right? Because it's all about time. So it's all about seeing something that was not to be seen, but not only you see, but you feel the difference. You feel the shift from the fuel 1.0, 1.0 to the 2.0, right? The Eight of Wands being like this boost, this gas that is like pumped with like all sorts of incentives and inspiration and motivations and all of that. And I just saw 1111. um and it's fascinating because it's almost like this way of fueling this machine was creating like this future timeline that could have been seen or perceived or understood by the creator as a very detrimental and slow moving, like lower vibration type of um engine or creator or mover of realities. Whereas the Eight of Wands, it's not just speeding up the machine, but it's like it's just oiling the whole system with like this word has been coming up so much, like combustion, right? It's not just like it's not just the combustion in the air. So maybe you feel like the air is you know hotter, or there's this shift in the wind that you will be able to tell, Libra, from the Eight of Swords. I was going to say the 11 of Swords, the Eight of Swords to the Eight of Wands, that is really changing time. And it's like you will perceive the difference, because so here's the funny thing. Because the creator, the magician, doesn't want to be seen, but somehow you get to see it, the Three of Swords coming next is the way that you are going to be almost like this. Uh, it's like the first one to experiment with this machine, because you got like this early access, and it was almost like this accidental observation. It's like you weren't trying to actively look for something in this system or find something wrong with the machine or time at all. It was almost like you were just zooming in, maybe the Three of Swords, right? Maybe a specific situation in your life that could have been painful, but when you revisit that, it's almost like you see the shift, because you see that there's something changing in your timeline, and it's almost like you get to spot the energy, the entity that is causing the shift. And so because you see them, and they didn't want you to see them because they were trying to be very discreet, since they were dissolving the old and installing the new. And it's almost like, to others that cannot see the magician, it could feel like magic, like a magic trick or a miracle, right? It's like, a shift from a timeline to another. It's like it's happening, in a magical way, but really, what's behind it. And because you have access to the magician, even though it wasn't your intention or his or theirs or its intention, they're saying, okay, since now you can perceive this shift, we're going to use you, Libra, very effectively it's like to experiment. It's like for yourself, right? It's like you get to experiment with this new machine. It's almost like you're going to do this test drive run, but you have to, it's like you have to come bringing all of your resources in a sense, or you have to come bringing all of your sovereignty, and it's going to be one at a time, right? So you know that whatever this is, it's like you, it's like accidentally or synchronistically you end up seeing something that you were not meant to be there or meant to see, and you get to experiment with this new machine that is going to attest how sovereign you are and how you've overcome your own distortions, your own fears. Because the Nine of Pentacles here was giving me this message of this machine can only hold space, or can only be used or be experienced by one person at a time. It cannot, it's almost like you can, it's like this maybe shift in timelines can be only perceived individually. It's like it's a very personal experience. And maybe that's the reason why I'm having such a hard time expressing that, because it's like it's going to be unique to each person. But I do believe that it's almost like the first requirement, or maybe the only requirement, really. Well, maybe there are two, right? It's like one is to be very honest with the situation that you are going to zoom in, right? Because it's going to speed up like very, very fast. It's like it's almost like going from 0 to 100 in a split second. And I feel like I have said that, sorry, I think I have said that in another reading recently. So it's like that. It's like choking, right? It's like it's going to go so fast that maybe you're going to choke with it. Um, but really, the other requirement, which I feel like it's the most fundamental one, it's like it's bringing everything that you have built to become this sovereign being, right? Because it's such a special, unique experience. It's almost like don't hold anything back. Bring everything, every golden aspect of yourself, every sovereign part of yourself, because you're going to want to be standing on this line. It's like being the first one is like you're very privileged, Libra. This is the sense that I'm having. Even though it's like it could seem, very scary to face this, I do believe that it's like you're up for it. It's like you're there. It's like the moment that you spot this magician and you see that you were also seen by them, there is this invitation or this proposal, right? And your first instinct is to say, yeah, I'm up for it. I'm here. I'm already standing in line, right? It's like you're the first one there. So I feel like it's almost like you're going to do this test run of this new fuel, right? That is going to work this machine in a faster way to, it's like to work through fears, work through like all of these patterns, all of these old beliefs, because that was conditioned by the old fuel, the old system. So now, because it's everything, being refreshed by this magician, it's like you're proud to say that you have, it's almost like you have built your life for this moment. It's like you have gathered your resources to be here now, able to have this privilege. And so when you step into the machine, which is what I feel like is happening here, the Four of Swords and the Temperance, both of these cards came together. So I do feel like even though this is a time machine, time traveling type of, system or perception of reality, right? It's like you're going to be able to see your future in a way, in a faster way that you've ever seen. It's almost like you're, even if you've had glimpses, right? Because now I'm being reminded of the glimpses that the magician has given you. Maybe, oh, this is fascinating. Even though the magician here is saying, no, I don't want to be seen, it's like it's just a creation. I don't want to be, the one who's given the credit for this creation, this system. I'm just here to upgrade the system overall and change the fuel and oil up the machine. It's like actually, I do feel like there was almost like this sneaky intentional invitation. It's like with the glimpses. So maybe that's the reason why you were able to zoom into this specific cog or to this specific situation, because it's like you've seen a few pieces here and there, but not the entire thing. And now that you've seen the creator, it's like you're being invited to go like head first. It's like to go have the full experience, right? To enter this new machine that is being upgraded and updated. And so when you enter, the first thing that you notice, even though it is the, time machine, this future timeline, this wheel of future, this wheel of fortune, um, time stops. It feels like there is kind of like this silent moment of not having any sort of like perception or reference of time and space. And then with the temperance, it feels like there is this interaction. And I wonder if this is with the creator of this machine, which could make a lot of sense, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe, okay, so here's the thing, because it's such a personal experience, you're the first one to ever have that experience, like ever, right? Especially because you have been granted this early access, this privileged access to get to, you know, live through this full experience. I want to say that this one is looking to you, and it's like it's almost like it's wanting to study more about you. It's almost like your reactions to this time stop. It's like there is no time really. It's like you enter this zone where there is just like, it's like time is absent, which is, counterintuitive. It's not what you were expecting. But this is how, maybe this is how you shift gears, right? This is how you, it's like reignite with this new fuel, this machine. And so what this interaction will be might be very particular, very unique to each person, because as I said, it's like you are the first one, Libra, but there might be others, and this one, the creator of this machine, wants to learn more about how it's going to be received by you and maybe others. So when you get to this stage, which I feel like it's going to be kind of like a surprise, it's like you can expect to have a conversation, to have an exchange, right? To receive knowledge, but it's almost like you're the one that's going to give information to this one about your experience of like this no time zone. It's almost like I'm seeing this as almost like being in this timeless space, but with somebody there. So it's almost like you do have a witness, or you are the witness, so that this magician can see if this is really working or not. That is so fascinating, Libra. What a weird and interesting reading. So, I truly hope that this was helpful. I am going to pull more cards to see if, there's more to see of this experience with no time or future times that are stopping. And also, I'm going to pull from the astrological runes in the extended reading. So if you want to join me there, I'll be very happy to see you. You can find the link down below. If not, see you next time. Bye.